like they put everything in a blender,
Yeah.
so you're kind of like drinking your hamburger.
Yeah. Ew.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Hey, y'all.
Welcome to the Huddle Hub.
I'm Deb.
And I'm Majestic.
And in today's huddle, we will be doing part 2 of entering the nursing program. Yes. If you watched our last video, we did part 1 and we talked about prior to entering the program. But today, we're going to talk about once you get in and what to expect.
Let's talk a little bit about lecture. Okay.
Yes.
And it depends too on if you're going to go to an ADN program or a BSN program. There's a difference. So with an ADN program, it's 2 years of the RN program itself, but that's excluding your prereqs. I took about 2.5 years of prereqs. A BSN program, you might have an additional 1.5 years because you're going to acquire a bachelor's degree when you graduate. So for us, we're just going to focus on ADN because that's the program that we attended. First semester would be fundamentals, okay? And that is the longest semester. So what you're doing in first semester is like your basic skills. So what I mean by basic skills, you're learning bed making, for example. Miter those corners.
Yes. I didn't even know what that was.
Miter those corners,
never
okay?
made my
Some
bed
of you
like
guys know what we're talking about. Who makes their bed like that?
No, nobody.
Okay.
I think military people.
They miter corners?
I think I made that up. I don't
You
know.
did?
I don't know. I'm going to find out.
You also learn about things like bed baths. Yes, there is a special way to perform a bed bath.
Yes.
So you learn
Not
about
just
that.
like that.
Do one arm at a time, one side, right side, then left side, whatever. Okay. Things like vital signs. So you learn how to take a blood pressure, a pulse, count respirations, a temperature. Yeah.
Different ways to take the temperature.
Different ways. Okay.
Different places.
But also learn about feeding. There's a proper way to feed. Like, let's say a person who has difficulty swallowing, you learn about the special diets and things that they have to be on, like puree diets. If you're not familiar with a puree diet, basically it looks like
yeah, like that.
Looks like dog
mush.
food. So it looks like they put everything in a blender, so you're kind of like drinking your hamburger.
Yeah. Ew.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. But it's necessary. You have people who cannot swallow and they may choke, and that could be very detrimental. You're also going to do Med Surg, and that's where you're getting just kind of like a brief introduction of the systems, of all the systems, okay? Pharmacology.
Yes.
This is where you're going to learn that there are several names for one med. So you have what's called a trade name, for example, and then you have a generic name. The generic name is more like the chemical makeup of the medication. So, for example, you have Tylenol and you have
acetaminophen.
And it took her 1,001 years to be able to pronounce that. Do you remember when we used to study in my kitchen?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for pharmacology? Oh, my goodness.
So my mother-in-law,
we would laugh so much.
God rest her soul. She used to sit in the living room. So Deb and I would study in my kitchen. This girl would get so tongue-tied. My mother-in-law will break out in such loud laughter. You can just hear her in there cracking up.
She knew I was saying them wrong. She's like, not even a nurse. Yeah, she knew.
But she thought it was so hilarious. She would just laugh. So now there's the introduction of psych. A lot of people struggle.
Yeah, they did.
A lot of people struggle. Well, not me, because I had the inside scoop. And I didn't tell anybody. If you refer to our very first video, not the part 1 of this one, but our very first video, I talked about how I was already a psychiatric technician. So that gave me a jump on it because I already knew a lot. I was basically an expert in psych by the time I entered the nursing program. You have to do a lot of nursing diagnoses and care plans. So this book here actually was very, very helpful. Thank you. She's the model for the book. Yes. She didn't even use it. She used me instead.
She was my textbook. And helped me pronunciate those medication names.
Enunciate.
Oh, shoot! I can't even say that! Enunciate. Oh, just finish the video without me.
OB
yeah.
rotation. And this was a very rude awakening for myself because when I entered the nursing program, I just knew that I wanted to be an OB. I'm going to hold the cute little babies. I'm going to help the moms. I just had this whole ideal in my head that it was just going to be all roses and rainbows.
Yeah.
No. When I had my rotation, that was the reality check that all babies don't come out healthy. Some mothers don't even want their babies. And it was heartbreaking to see the other side of it. So right then and there, my reality check was, I don't want to do OB. And from there, I'm just aimlessly in the program because that was my backup. I didn't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
Then you have Peds. I am a horrible Peds nurse. I am too sensitive. And one of the things about being a good nurse, knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. My weakness are babies, are kids, are Peds.
Me too. I couldn't do it. During that time, that's when the LVNs transitioned into our class.
See, you kind of develop like a little, core little group. And it kind of disrupted it a little bit because now you have all these new faces, new personalities. Who are you?
Yeah.
Why is she looking over here?
So our class got huge, but we were a close-knit class. We helped each other. So it was good. It was different.
Yes.
Because you had to start building trust again and knowing new people.
But it turned out good.
Yeah, it turned out good.
Then you have third semester. This was the nightmare semester for me.
Yeah, it was.
I almost failed out. I almost failed out in third semester. That is such a detrimental blow to know that I almost failed.
Yeah.
Prior to the program, if you're a scholar like Deb and I, A's, that was nothing for us. Okay, we always made A's. I was 4.0.
Not always.
You didn't always make A's?
I didn't always
Did
make
you lie
A's.
to me?
Just because I'm Asian.
Did you lie to me?
like that?
Oh, I thought you did.
But,
when you get in the nursing program, it will humble you.
Oh, yeah.
It will humble you because that A that you're so used to getting, you'll be happy to get a C. It's
That
like
is
you
the
got
new
an
A.
That's
the new
C
A.
is the new
Yeah,
A.
C is the new A.
So in third semester, you have intermediate Med Surg. This is where you're going deep with the systems, okay? And you're learning, the major functioning of the systems. And when I say systems, I mean like the heart, what the heart does, the kidneys, your lungs, all of the major systems, you're really getting in deep, with them. And it was difficult for me, even though I was already in nursing.
My hardest semester was first because I had no medical background whatsoever when I started the nursing program.
Yes.
I was teaching the violin. Originally, I wanted to be a school teacher. And so it was very new to me. The only time I'd ever been in the hospital was to give birth to my child. So it was hard and it's a different mindset.
Right.
When you're taking a test, it's not the same that you're used to.
Right.
And unfortunately, of all the semesters that if you had to drop out of, the first is tough because since it's the longest, you have to wait like a year to get back in. But other students who had to drop out maybe because of responsibilities or their grades, it was easier to jump in the next semester because it wasn't as long. But that was my hardest.
Wow. So then we have fourth semester. This is where it gets real. If not the most stressful for everybody.
Yes.
Because it's game time. Okay? You are about to embark on something totally different. Now you're preparing to sit for the board.
Yeah.
Now you're expected to know in depth the systems, the meds, everything that you have learned thus far.
Yeah.
You're expected to really be intimate knowledge with this.
Yeah.
And in fourth semester, this is where you precept. You're actually taking care of real patients, not clinical style. They give you patients to take care of.
Yeah.
And so this is where all of your skills that you've learned thus far kicks in. That's intimidating in itself.
Yeah. So another part of the nursing program is the sim lab. I love sim lab.
Oh, me too.
But I think it depends on the instructor there.
For sure.
Yeah. But we had a great time. It's separate from the lecture classes. You go in and you have all these mannequins, and you have your classmates with you, and you basically get a scenario and act out what you're gonna do in real life.
Right.
And at the end, sometimes they'll record you. You watch the video.
So
we'll
you have
laugh
like a
about
debriefing.
it. Yeah,
and
we'll
you're
laugh
like,
about it. We'll talk about
I
it.
could
Yeah.
have done better here,
Yeah.
or I can't believe I didn't know that there.
Yeah.
It's a really
It was
good
good.
learning
I enjoyed it.
experience.
I enjoyed
Yes.
it. But what wasn't so fun was ATI. I'm gonna ATI, Assessment Technology Institute. So that's what these books that you buy, if you still have them now in the programs, is to prepare you for each semester. When you're done, we would take these ATI exams. It was an online test where you would basically be tested of the knowledge that you learned during OB, Peds, Med Surg, and whatnot. And we would take the exam, wait outside, and they would give you your score at the end, and it would weighted in our grade in our class.
It was part of our grade.
Yeah, and you had to pass it though to move on. So if you failed, you had to retake it. Another thing is the test. So you take a lot of tests. And what I was saying earlier, I had a hard time first semester because I was not used to the way testing was done in the nursing program. It is not just here are the choices A, B, C, D. You know, it was a lot of critical thinking. I wasn't used to that kind of style questions. We also had dosage calculation questions. So that's basically nursing math. Which I am so bad at math. So that stressed me out a lot too.
Me too. Math is not my friend. I can count my money, but that's about it.
So with dosage calculations, we would have like 20 questions and you could only miss two. So every time we were about to start a test and we're waiting, I would literally have the runs every time. I would always have to go to the bathroom. I wish I had good test taking skills. But I just sat with my stress.
Because you're unaware that physical symptoms manifest when you're so anxious. So for me, I would get palpitations. I used to have heart palpitations where my heart, literally, I can feel it skipping. And that was all due to the anxiety, you know, of test taking. So it is important to develop some good test taking skills, those quick relaxation, you know, techniques to implement, because it is stressful. You want to pass. That's the goal. You want to pass. Another very important part of the nursing program is how to select your study groups. That is critical. It's like dating.
Very much.
Literally like dating, okay? Because you have to date your group. So it's like this, something like this. Welcome to the group match, the dating show where students find their perfect match. So let's meet our contestants. You have the Brainiac.
They know everything, right?
Everything.
They are the textbook.
They are
the textbook, but when they explain things to you, they still sound like the textbook. So they don't help me.
Next, the mnemonic mastermind. Jan ran with the fan. And took some Ativan. I want that person in my group. Next, the organizer. Color code. Next up, the distractor.
You gotta get that bag. Oh, that's cute. We're trying to learn about the heart.
Next contestant, the Energizer Bunny. That's nice. Okay, next chart. What's the next one? Are we learning the heart next? Sometimes that's good, but then sometimes that's bad. Okay? We want some energy, we want some laughter, we want some good times, but we don't want to turn into the distractor.
Exactly.
And then the other one, the talker. Always talking through study time. You're like, okay, the essay note to the, hey, did you know? Do you watch that show?
And you can't get them to stop.
So you literally have to date your study
Yeah.
group. So
You missed one.
I did.
The taker.
Because I left that for you. Because
Yes.
you
Oh.
was a victim.
Yes.
You were taken.
Yes. There are those that just want from you, want your time, want your knowledge, and they don't give anything into the group, right?
Yes.
That reminds me of how we became friends.
You guys want to know how we became friends? Well, let me tell you. So this beautiful spirit here, she's the organizer. Actually, you are. I was gonna say, except for the bad stuff. Except for the bad stuff.
Thank
No,
you.
no,
Thanks
not
for
the bad
saying
stuff.
that.
But you are a little mixture of all the good things.
Yeah. Thanks.
So she's very, very organized. You want to meet someone who just can get it all together? That's that. These beautiful, wonderful things are called study guides.
Yes.
She would put these things together because she has to be very organized. So in order for her to have a systematic way of studying, she would literally create these.
Yes.
Go through the book, go through the chapters, and she would create these.
Yeah. I had to.
So word around town was she made these things. So if you were part of her study group, she would come and hand you a study guide. She'd make them for everybody. So now people are getting wind of these study guides, and they're so comprehensive, so in depth. And there were a lot of people that I would notice that would just like kind of go to her and like ask, excuse me, do you have another one of those study guides? You've never even talked to this girl, but you're gonna go up to her and ask for her study guide. So me, I'm one of those individuals, I don't like to see people taken advantage of. And she's so sweet, she didn't even notice. And it's so much work involved. And she would just say,
Oh, yeah, no problem. I'll email it to you.
and so one day I'm like, Deb, that's a lot of work. Why are you giving it away?
Well, I'm going to do it for myself anyway. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to do it for myself.
So one day we're studying. Here comes a taker. And she goes, excuse me, I just want to know, do you have another one of those study guides? I said, no. She don't.
My
She looked
bodyguard.
and she was like, no, she doesn't. Because people started taking advantage. I felt like I wanted to protect her because she was so sweet. And I just felt like people was taking advantage. And I didn't have a problem telling people, no, absolutely not.
We started off as just like being study partners, but I mean, we became.
But we found the one.
Yeah, I put the ring on her.
She put the ring on. We found the one.
And we are committed. We have been together for ADN, BSN, MSN. Yes. And I went through a lot of study groups, a lot of different ones, and I found the one. She was the one. I was committed to her. It was just me and her. I was not looking for any other person.
That's right, girl. Say it. That's right, girl.
But that's the thing.
It was nothing out there for us. Exactly.
But another thing is with exams and your study groups is the location where you study. So we've tried different locations. For me, I tried the library at the school. Didn't like it because there was a lot of distractions. We would have other classmates come and they'd be like, interrupting us, like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?
What is that?
Oh, is that your study guide?"
No. Getting this study guide.
And then it closed early. There was other places. Oh, we went to the bookstore. The only thing with the bookstore is you had to like fight for a seat because everybody in all the nursing programs are going to the same bookstore.
Exactly.
So you fought for it. You got all these nursing students. You had to buy something to stay there. And like eventually we got kicked out.
We got kicked out.
Like,
we got kicked
we're
out.
trying to save your life and you kick us out. Yeah. So we stopped going there.
Yeah.
We stopped going there.
Yeah.
We even tried a diner. And at this diner, you get free refills, free cappuccino refills. But I think they stopped it for people like us. Because we would be there like all day studying, order one meal, and just kept refilling our cappuccinos.
We have another cappuccino, please. Refill, garçon. So yeah.
Yeah, but eventually finally found the right location, which was our homes.
Right.
Yeah, we were comfortable.
Right.
We could be there all day. And, when you're studying in the nursing program, sometimes you're doing it for hours, late nights. And sometimes you need to take a little nap.
Right. Because we used to take turns taking naps.
Yeah. So the home was much more comfortable. You could snack. It was more cost effective. You could just, eat at home. So that was our favorite spot. And we stayed in our home studying in all the programs.
All of the
programs we've been through together.
So guys, that was part 2 of entering the nursing program. But stay tuned for part 3, where we discuss classmates, clinicals,
Fun.
teachers, and also how I hid in the bathroom during clinicals. So if you want to know what happened with me in the bathroom, stay tuned for part 3.
Don't want to miss it. Bye, guys.